Let's talk for a little bit about breaking trust. Trust. Wow. I was told that trust is one of the hardest things to earn and even the harder at earning back. No, we're going to say that differently. The hardest to earn back. I'm trying to keep this so she doesn't have to edit it, but you'll get the gist. There's some stuff that's just raw footage, and now you're going to pick up on her laughing in the tape too, which is even funner, right? Anyway, back to trust. There's a gentleman named Stephen Covey. A lot of you have heard about him. He wrote this fantastic book called The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And in the book, he highlights his whole story with his son, who happens to be named Stephen. And Stephen, the son, later on went on to write a book called The Speed of Trust. And I'm going to be paraphrasing a lot of it, but when I first read the book, I was pretty ticked off. Not at what he wrote, it was the truth of what he wrote. And in the first couple chapters, Stephen the son describes how we have adapted the system of breaking trust with people and consider it normal. Now you think, no, I don't break trust with anybody. What he was talking about is the little elements of where we tell white lies. Convenient untruths, bending things a little bit. That to him is breaking trust. See, when I'm talking to you, you should trust that I'm talking from the heart, which I am. And you should trust if you met me on the street or met me in a store, my behavior should be somewhat the same if I'm consistent and I'm trying to share something. And I hope that that's always true, that nobody's going to catch me in a weird moment, because I try to live my life the same way I live it behind the camera. And that's important. So what he was saying is, when you're on the phone with somebody, hey, where are you? And, oh, I'm just coming up on the exit for the freeway, and you're 2 miles away. He says that's breaking trust with people. It's those little lies. And he wonders why we've allowed society to make that socially acceptable. And that's what got to me. And probably the biggest statement that got to me, he goes, how many of you have a voicemail that says, I'm away from my desk or not available right now, and you're actually staring at the phone looking at the caller ID because you just didn't want to answer the call? How many of you have a voicemail that just says something like that? And how many of you are actually lying half the time? I know it's brutal, isn't it, to think about breaking trust in that manner? And it really got me to thinking, and probably 10 or 12 years ago, I started daily leaving my voicemail of what my schedule was. And I've had a couple of people along the way that have commented about, wow, it must be nice to have your life so important you leave your schedule. But most people say that is the coolest thing ever, that you make an effort to give the date and the time and tell me what your schedule is, because I know that you don't answer the phone when you're in an appointment with somebody, you're coaching somebody. And that's true. And that's the way I try to establish things. So just think about that the next time that you want to conveniently say something because it sounds good or it's the right thing. You know what's really nice? When you break that down and just tell the truth. That works. It works very well.